Greetings fans, hyperfans and people just lost looking for videos of cats on YouTube. Today we are doing our first close-up look of something that I got from the bundle from Sir Toys. I did an unboxing for Chinese New Year, asked what item did everybody want me to start with, and the responses that I got basically said, do the Skylynx, do the Skylynx, do the Skylynx. So I'm going to do the Skylynx. Skylynx is an interesting character, mainly turning up in the 3rd and 4th seasons of the original G1 cartoon. He took the place of Skyfire and Omega Supreme as the main transport bot. He was very uppity, very skilled, very strong, pretty much the only thing that could destroy the big Decepticon of the series, which was Predaking. Talked in a very supercilious way. I'm sure that he and Trax were probably the only two members of the Cybertron book club. And character design wise, he was a little bit weird. Everything else had either a animal to a robot form or a vehicle to a robot form. This was a vehicle to an animal. And when it came to the actual toy of this, it was kind of the end of an era for me. Now, I'd had a really privileged run at the Transformer toys back in the G1 day. I'd got some Diaclone figures, I was gifted an awful lot of the G1 stuff as it was coming out, and I had a collection that would make most modern toy fans weep that I ever let it go. And while I didn't have everything, the Gestalts kind of passed me by, but when this hit the shelves in Woolworths, gosh, now there's a blast from the past, it was the first toy that I looked at and went, I probably am not going to own this, and I'm not going to want to own it. And it then went from this to some of the really big, ugly, plastic later toys, and then into the G2, Thunderclash, and I lost it. I just went off of the series. Recently I've sat down and watched through the entire G1 cartoon again with my partner, and I got a little bit more love for dear old Skylynx. Of course, by then, the G1 version was skyrocketing, and it didn't really fit in with the scale of the stuff that I was collecting. But luckily, along comes Sir Toys with their collection of Chinese oddities, knockoffs, recolours, recreations, and I've got something that's a lot smaller. It's something that doesn't require a whole section of your display shelf just to own it. He's a lot smaller than the original G1 figure, just comparing him to Classics Starscream. He's pretty much the same length and the same width. At least the shuttle mode is. There he is next to Masterpiece Laserbeak and Commander Class Shockwave. He's a lot more simplified than the G1 release. Like the G1 release, it is 2 robots in 2 vehicles. You have the shuttle and the carrier. Now I'm going to put the carrier off to one side and we'll have a look at the shuttle. Colours are a little bit dreadful on this version with those really purple wings. The teal, I don't think it's really showing up quite how obnoxious that is on camera. Stickers, absolutely awful. But it's a shuttle. It's a space shuttle. There is nothing else that this could possibly be other than a space shuttle. It's got the cargo bay doors that open, and you have the same teal plastic inside. It was gold chrome on the original G1 toy, but this is a hell of a lot less than that toy. Transformation on him is pretty easy. We extend out the neck, straightening the mouth out. You actually have teeth in there, a little laser gun. This can be worked around. That bent down. Close those up for now. The wings pull out exactly the same way as the G1 toys did, with great difficulty. One, two, and if really need be, you can overextend it. That's just a little friction clip there. Okay, nothing serious, snap back in. Other side, exactly the same. This time hopefully without breaking it. The feet fold down individually. You can see the moulded detail of where a knee joint should be, but these are solid all the way down to the feet. Back slides out, opens up, grab the tail fin and extend his entire tail. Now that's actually got, let's see, 1, 2, nothing really there, little bit of movement I guess, and then quite a lot of movement there. So 3.5 points of articulation. The neck right at the base, right at the neck, and maybe another 4. There's no turning left or right, but what you have is definitely Skylynx.
As a downsize of the original J1 toy, it's not a bad model.
Okay, he's missing some of the paint apps, he's missing the gorgeous gold chrome, but the plastic is pretty good compared to the last release of Generations toys. Nothing's a real deal breaker. Extended some of the joints are loose. It's a really large figure compared to other items from your generation. And compared to smaller figures, he really does have a great sense of scale. It's a very solid figure. Warranting me to just tilt my camera up a little bit to try and squeeze him all into shot. I have a feeling that anyone lucky enough to get one of the very limited numbers that Sir Toys has left of these is going to be displaying it this way. But no, I hear you cry, that's only half of it, that's just the sky, what about the links? Well, here I have to say is where the problems begin. Is a fantastic example of why I love Chinese knockoffs. Lynx, the carrier drone, really highlights all the problems. The original G1 Skylynx had a gimmick. The base was battery operated, which means it would roll in tank mode, and when it transforms into his beast mode, he would actually walk. It was a very cool mechanic, but not one that you're going to find reproduced in a little 10-yuan figure. Instead, knowing they had to release this second figure with it, bereft of everything that made it cool, they tried to make up for that. First thing they did was to include another accessory. They included a tank turret that attached to the same point as the shuttle could. That sliding backwards and forwards, the gun turret pulling out that way, should give it away that what we are looking at here is an oversized Blitzwing turret, complete with fake landing gear from jet mode. Why? I mean, granted, it now means that he's a little bit more formidable as an individual vehicle, but we didn't want it as an individual vehicle. If we'd wanted an individual vehicle, we'd have bought the Blitzwing. So, let's get rid of that straight away. Secondly, because they didn't have to do the very complex tank treads that turned into working feet, they simplified and simplified and simplified until we have these little pink and grey H-tank style treads. They don't actually move. In fact, all the vehicle movement is handled by 4 little wheels on the bottom. Okay, I really didn't want to have to do this. But let's see how he transforms. Okay, so this is rather worrying tail, and then all 4 legs are these identical splitting trucks. Now, I haven't decided whether or not there should have been fold-out feet to at least have a more lion-y proportion, but the only way you can really get this to stand is this Wellington boot configuration. Okay. Now for the final indignity. This pulls up absolute minimum amount. And that's the head. The original G1 Skylynx had the head a little bit further up, which this one just will not do. A gold plastic on the front, a moulded in mouth, and no eyes. Why no eyes? Because on a face shape like this, you cannot do the eyes equally. We have one eye looking straight forward and one eye looking at what he's had for breakfast. I can only assume that in the in-series fiction, Skylynx is called into great and magnificent battle, where with overwhelming odds he separates into his two component parts, fights on, eventually winning the day. The glorious
pterodactyl-esque Skylynx
Sky section, standing atop a pile of his fallen foes, it is only when he looks around to visit his companion and finds him laying dead, and has to explain to his younger brother the slightly derpy, malformed, and frankly rather embarrassing younger brother of his companion's death, that they unite to carry on the legacy. That is the only reason I can see for packing this with that. Now, as in the G1 version, these two can combine. Would everybody like to see that? Oh good, it's almost unanimous. Whilst our star performer rests in the wings, let's go about hiding the head of shame, putting its tail back between its, all the way between its legs, going back to our shuttle former, folding up the feet, folding those in, and you'll see that we have two conveniently placed screw holes and one moulded in hole at the front, which make a much better top piece than
Blitzwing's cast-offs.
Yeah. I have to say that the coolness that the shuttle brings to it doesn't outweigh the derp. Even if you sort of drop the head down a little bit. The tail hangs well. But those feet, they're wellies. They're Wellington boots. Unless Skylynx is going off for a rescue mission in Staines or Croydon, he can leave those things at home. This downscaled Skylynx really is a mixed bag. The shuttle site is a fantastic opportunity for modders. Even minimal modding can make it a fantastic figure. The carrier Lynx figure, though, is an absolute joke. You should consider it pretty much disposable. I may put an update up once I've got this figure painted, but it may take me a while to work out how to save the transporter. Suggestions in the comments below greatly received. Thank you for watching, thank you to Toys for sending me this figure. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button. And if I haven't bored you into a stupor, consider hitting subscribe as well, especially since I'm going to be giving a few things away with my next couple of videos.